My manager hated me. But I didn't quit. I remember my first day like it was yesterday. I walked into the office with wide eyes, big dreams, and a heart full of hope. But I had no idea that the person who would shape my journey the most would be the one who challenged me the hardest. My manager. I had just landed my first job in a mid-sized tech company. The office was bright, modern, and full of young professionals. I was assigned to the operations team, and that's where I met my manager, Mr. Thomas Gray. At first glance, he seemed calm and professional, but behind that calmness was a man with extremely high expectations. I was nervous but eager. I thought, if I just work hard, everything will be fine. Oh, how naive I was. My first major task was to prepare a performance report for the monthly review. I double-checked everything and sent it out. The next morning, Thomas called me into his office. He didn't say hello. He didn't smile. "Your report," he said, "is full of inconsistencies. Did you even check it?" My stomach dropped. He didn't shout, but his tone was enough to crush my confidence. I apologized, but that wasn't enough. From that moment on, it felt like I had a spotlight on me, and not the good kind. Weeks went by. Every task I did, he found something wrong with it. Even when others complimented my work, Thomas would always point out a flaw. I started to question myself. I worked late, skipped lunch, read extra materials, trying to impress him. But nothing changed. Sometimes I saw him laugh with other colleagues, but with me, always cold, always distant. One Friday evening, after another harsh meeting with Thomas, I stayed in the office alone. I stared at my computer screen, unable to type. I was tired, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I called my friend and said, "I think I made a mistake joining this company." She listened, then said something I'll never forget. "You didn't make a mistake. You just haven't found your rhythm yet. Don't let one person define your journey." I stopped trying to impress Thomas. Instead, I focused on being consistent. I documented everything. I asked more questions, even if he rolled his eyes. I became more assertive, but always respectful. Most importantly, I started learning from other managers. I watched how they led their teams. I noted what worked, what didn't. I became stronger, not because Thomas supported me, but because he forced me to grow up. 6 months into my job, our team was assigned a major client project. Thomas put me in charge of coordination. It was a test. Big one. For 3 weeks, I led meetings, resolved conflicts, stayed calm under pressure. My team appreciated me. And then, Thomas sent me an email. Subject: "Well done." Just 2 words. But they felt like a full sentence. A few days after the project ended, Thomas called me into his office. He looked different, softer. "I was hard on you," he said. "Too hard, maybe. But I saw potential. And potential without pressure stays potential." I didn't know what to say. He added, "You've grown. See it. Keep going." It wasn't an apology, but it was the closest I would get. And it meant something. Now, years later, I look back and I'm thankful. Thomas never became my friend, but he was part of my foundation. I learned to be resilient. I learned how to deal with difficult people. I learned that not every lesson comes with kindness. Some come through fire. But if you walk through it, you come out stronger. So if you're working under someone who's tough, who doesn't appreciate you, who makes you feel small, don't give up just yet. You're learning. You're building something inside you that will take you further than you imagine. Just hang in there. And remember, you're not alone. Wide-eyed. I was wide-eyed on my first day, amazed by everything around me. Heart full of hope. I walked into the office with a heart full of hope. High expectations. My manager had high expectations from the very beginning. Inconsistency. He said my report was full of inconsistencies. Crush someone's confidence. His tone crushed my confidence completely. Apologize. I apologized immediately, but he didn't accept it. Flaw. Even when I tried my best, he always found a flaw. Compliment. Other colleagues complimented my work. Distant. He remained distant, never smiling at me. Breakdown. That Friday night I had an emotional breakdown. Mentally. I was mentally and emotionally exhausted. Define one's journey. Don't let one person define your journey. Assertive. I became more assertive but always respectful. Document. I documented every step of my work. Foundation. He became a part of my foundation for growth. Coordination. I was responsible for the coordination of the project. Conflict. I resolved conflicts and kept the team united. Appreciate. The team appreciated my leadership. Potential. He said I had potential but needed pressure to grow. Soft. His voice was softer than usual. Resilient. I became more resilient through all the challenges. Kindness. Not every lesson comes with kindness. Walk through fire. Sometimes you must walk through fire to become stronger. My boss resigned, and I was left holding the bag. It was just another Tuesday morning. I was sipping my third cup of coffee, buried in project emails. And came. Subject. Resignation notice. From my boss. Froze. My manager, Martin, the one holding everything together, was leaving. Effective in 2 weeks. No warning. No transition plan. Suddenly I looked around the office. Everyone was whispering. People were stunned. The director called an emergency meeting. Until further notice, she said. Please coordinate with Lisa. She knows the project best. Lisa. Was me. I wasn't promoted. I wasn't offered more pay. Coordinate with her. Martin's departure created a void. I was the most familiar with the project, so questions flooded in. Can you review this document? When's the next deliverable due? Should we inform the client about the delay? People assumed I had answers. I didn't. I stayed late rereading project files. I built new spreadsheets, fixed broken timelines, and tried to look like I was in control. But the truth, I was drowning. At night, I would rewatch Zoom recordings just to recall what Martin used to say. I wasn't sleeping. I was just reacting. The first resistance came from Tom. Tom had been with the company for 7 years. Older, experienced, and direct. One afternoon he said, Lisa, with all due respect, you're not my boss. He wasn't wrong. I had no authority, no title, just stress. Then others followed suit. One teammate stopped replying to my emails. Another openly questioned my decisions in group chats. Are we sure Lisa's approach is aligned with the company's direction? Stung. I went to the restroom. Locked the door. I remember gripping the sink and whispering, I didn't ask for this. That Thursday was my lowest point. The client emailed, furious about missed deadlines. I had forgotten a crucial attachment. My inbox blew up. Later that day, I stood in front of the mirror in the office restroom, tears in my eyes. I texted my friend. I think I'm going to quit. I'm not cut out for this. But I didn't. That night, I opened a blank document titled, Damage Control Plan. I realized something. I didn't need to act like Martin. I needed to be me. The next morning I called a short team meeting. Not to assign tasks, but to talk. I know I'm not your manager, I began. But this project matters to all of us. I'd like to find a better way to move forward. Together. To my surprise, they listened. I stopped giving orders. I started asking questions. What do you think we should prioritize this week? Is there anything blocking your progress? Gradually things changed. People became more responsive. Tom. He began including me in key decisions. And slowly, trust returned. Week by week we recovered. We updated the client weekly. Transparently. We realigned our goals. We shared the load more fairly. It wasn't perfect, but the energy shifted. One Friday, the director dropped by my desk. Lisa, just so you know, we've been watching. You're holding this team together. I smiled, but inside I was thinking, I've been held together by coffee and anxiety, but thank you. 3 months later, a new manager was hired. I was officially offered the role of assistant project lead. Some people said, "You should have gotten the full role." Others said, "You saved the project." What I remember most was my growth. I learned to speak with confidence even when I doubted myself, handle conflict without escalating it, stay calm when things spiraled, and most importantly, I learned that leadership isn't about title. It's about responsibility when no one else steps up. Looking back, I didn't choose this situation, but I chose how to respond. I didn't know I was capable until I had to be. If you're in that same spot, overwhelmed, unsure, exhausted, let me say this. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep showing up. And one day you'll look back and say, "I didn't break. I became." Missed deadline. The client was upset because we missed a major deadline. Crucial. I forgot to send a crucial file and it nearly cost us the deal. Burnout. I was heading straight toward burnout and didn't realize it. Damage control. That night, I created a damage control plan to regain control. Breakdown. I had a mini emotional breakdown in the office restroom. Shift gears. I decided to shift gears and focus on collaboration instead of control. Assign tasks. I stopped trying to assign tasks and started asking for input. Prioritize. We met to prioritize what actually needed to be done this week. Block progress. Some outdated processes were blocking our progress. Responsive. The team became more responsive once I started listening better. Transparency. We practiced full transparency with the client. Both good and bad news. Realign. We realigned our goals based on new timelines and resources. Share the load. Instead of doing everything myself, I learned to share the load. Recognition. My director gave me recognition for holding things together. Feedback loop. We established a weekly feedback loop to stay on track. Succession planning. They mentioned me during a succession planning discussion. Promotion opportunity. There was a promotion opportunity, but I chose to take the assistant role. Escalate. I learned not to escalate every problem. Some just needed calm explanation. Leadership potential. They said I had leadership potential even without the official title. Step up. When no one else did, I stepped up, even when I was scared.